If you want to live like the 1%, you have to manage money like the 1%. Not someday, but today. Most people don't have a money problem. They have a mindset problem. They don't track. They don't plan. They don't ask the hard questions. And because of that, they stay stuck, stressed, reactive, always behind. But the 1% do something different. They treat money with respect. They know where every dollar goes. They make smart moves every day, not just when things fall apart. This isn't about earning millions. This is about learning how to think, act, and move like the people who stay ahead. Calm, focused, prepared. If you're tired of living paycheck to paycheck, tired of feeling that knot of anxiety in your stomach every time a bill comes in, and tired of pretending it's all okay, this is your wake-up call. Welcome to Audiobook Bites. In this summary, you'll learn how to manage your money like the top 1% do, clearly, strategically, and confidently. No hype, just results. If you're ready to take control, hit that like button, subscribe to our channel, and let us know in the comments what your biggest money goal is. Let's begin. You have to clean up your financial mess before it ruins you. That's the first truth about money that most people avoid. They avoid it because it's uncomfortable. They avoid it because facing reality takes courage. But here's the thing. If you don't take charge of your money, it will eventually take charge of you. And when it does, it won't be kind. It won't care about your dreams. It won't care about your stress. It will simply collapse everything you're trying to build. So if you're serious about changing your life, this is where you start. Not by chasing a bigger salary, but by fixing what's already broken. You start by sitting down and looking at every piece of the mess. Imagine Sarah, living in a small apartment in Chicago. After a long commute on the L train and a draining day at her marketing job, she unwinds by scrolling through Amazon. A click here, a click there. It feels harmless. But now, the credit card statements are piled on her kitchen counter, next to the student loan bills from Loyola and the notice from ComEd. She avoids looking at them, pushing them aside to make room for her takeout container. That avoidance is the real problem. You start by writing it all down, not to feel bad, but to finally get honest with yourself. Most people walk around with a low-grade financial anxiety because they never slow down to look at the numbers. They guess, they assume, they hope it's not that bad. But hope is not a plan. The 1% don't hope. They know. They know where every dollar is and why it's there. You've got to treat your money like it matters, even if you don't have much right now. If it's a mess, it means you've got habits that need to change. It means your spending is emotional, reactive, and often unconscious. The problem isn't just the bills. It's the mindset that created those bills. Start by being brutally honest about your situation. That takes strength. Don't hide from the numbers. You need to know exactly how much you owe, who you owe it to, and when it's due. You need to know what subscriptions, Netflix, Spotify, that gym membership you haven't used since January, are draining your bank account. Most people think they'll clean it up once they start earning more. That's a lie. Because if you can't manage $2,000 a month, you won't manage $10,000. Money doesn't change habits, it exposes them. The 1% don't start by earning more. They start by getting clear, getting clean, and getting focused. Now is the time to draw the line. You don't need more income to take control. You need more awareness, more responsibility, more self-respect. You've got to stop the bleeding. Cancel the things you don't use. Track every single expense for the next 30 days. Use an app, a notebook, anything. Write down where every dollar goes. You'll be shocked at how much you waste without noticing. That's the mess. It's not just about debt. It's the daily drift. Fix that. Stop lying to yourself, telling yourself you deserve that new thing you can't afford. The 1% don't think like that. They think long-term. They say no to temporary pleasure so they can build permanent freedom. That's what money is for. Not for showing off, but for giving yourself real control over your time and future. You've got to develop discipline, not for the world, but for yourself, because discipline leads to dignity. When you're in control of your money, you walk taller. You sleep better. You stop stressing every time your phone buzzes, worried it's another payment reminder. This isn't about becoming rich overnight. Real financial success is built slowly, quietly, consistently. It's not loud, it's not flashy, it's responsible. The 1% don't ignore problems, they solve them. They don't blame the system, they fix their habits. You start today. You look at the numbers, you admit the truth. Maybe it's not good. Maybe it's embarrassing. But you face it anyway. Because the pain of honesty is better than the pain of regret. And when you start fixing your money, you start fixing your life. Your relationships get better, your stress drops, your confidence rises. Because you're no longer hiding. Clean up the mess now before it gets worse. That's how you start thinking like the 1%. Not by chasing more, but by fixing what's already broken. Because if you don't fix the foundation, the cracks will grow, the stress will multiply, and sooner or later, the whole thing will fall apart. Don't let it come to that. Clean it up now. Clean it up for good. Most people never get ahead financially because they never learn to respect money. They use it, they spend it, they chase it, but they don't respect it. And when you don't respect something, it doesn't stay with you. That's why so many people are stuck in a cycle of earn and lose year after year. It's not about luck. It's about how they treat money. If money is always leaving your hands, you have to stop and ask, what kind of relationship have I built with it? Respect begins with how you think. If you see money as just a tool to get through the week, you'll never grow it. But if you begin to see it as something that deserves care, attention, protection, and structure, that's when things start to shift. It's not about worshiping money. It's about honoring the life energy you traded to earn it. Look at how you handle money every day. Are you careful with it, or are you careless? Do you check your accounts regularly, or do you avoid looking? Every small action is a sign of how you feel about money deep down. Respect is not a feeling. It's a habit. Consider Mark, a young software engineer in Seattle. He makes a great salary, but he's always broke a week before his next paycheck. The money goes to the latest tech gadgets, expensive dinners in Capitol Hill, and weekend trips to Portland. He's living the life he sees on Instagram, but the respect for his hard-earned money isn't there. Respecting money would mean Mark pauses when he gets paid. He'd ask himself, what's the smartest thing I can do with this? Not the most fun, the smartest. That's a question most people never ask, but the 1% do every single time. The way you talk about money also matters. If you keep saying, I'm broke, or I'm just not good with money, that becomes your identity. The 1% don't speak like victims. They speak with intention. They say, I'm learning to handle money well, or I make smart choices with what I have. That kind of language creates action. Respect also means you stop playing games with your money. No more impulsive purchases to escape emotions. People often use money to feel better. They shop when they're stressed. They buy things to impress people. That's not respect. That's emotional spending. The 1% don't use money to fix their emotions. They use money to build their options. You also show respect for money by where you put it. If your money has no home, it disappears. Money needs purpose. You can't just keep it all in one checking account and hope you'll make the right choices. That's like trying to carry water in your hands. You need systems. One account for bills, one for an emergency fund, one for long-term investments, one for guilt-free spending. Give every dollar a job. That's how the 1% stay in control. They don't just earn well, they organize well. Think about the effort you put into earning money, the long hours, the pressure. If you work so hard to earn it, why wouldn't you be just as careful with how you use it? Start asking yourself better questions before every purchase. Do I need this? Does this help me reach my goals? Is this worth the hours I work to earn it? These questions slow you down. They help you think. And thinking is the beginning of all change. People who respect money think first, spend second. It's also important to protect your money. Guard it. Check your accounts weekly. Look for patterns. What are you wasting money on? This is how you stay in control. You don't wait for the damage, you prevent it. And don't confuse respect with fear. Fear makes you hide. Respect makes you plan. You're not supposed to be afraid of money, you're supposed to understand it. Read books, listen to podcasts, learn. Follow the habits of those who've built real wealth. They're not lucky, they're consistent. And consistency starts with respect. You also show respect by being grateful. When you get paid, feel thankful. Gratitude changes how you handle money. You stop taking it for granted. You start taking it seriously. You stop saying, "It's never enough," and start asking, "How can I make the most of what I have?" That shift alone can change your life. The habits you build with a small paycheck are the same ones you'll need with a big one. If you don't respect $100, you won't respect $10,000. That's why so many lottery winners lose it all. They never built the respect. Remember, money flows to those who manage it well, not those who chase it, not those who brag about it, but those who handle it with care. You just have to be responsible, quietly, consistently. You don't get ahead in life just by working longer hours. You get ahead by working smarter, thinking differently, and building systems that grow without your constant effort. The 1% understand this early. They know that time is limited, but ideas are not. They know that income tied directly to hours is a trap. The first shift you must make is this. Stop thinking that working more is the only way to earn more. That belief keeps you locked in a cycle. The 1% don't accept that. They look for leverage. They look for results that come from systems, not sweat. Start looking at your skills through a different lens. What can you do that brings value to others? Take Jessica, a high school teacher in a suburb of Atlanta. She's incredibly organized and has developed a fantastic system for classroom management. Her colleagues are always asking her for tips. For years, that's all it was. Tips shared over lunch. But what if she turned that expertise into a digital product? An e-book, an online course for new teachers, a set of printable planners. She could build it once, and it could sell again and again, earning money while she's in the classroom, on vacation, or asleep. This isn't a fantasy. It's a strategy. You need to become a creator of income, not just an earner of income. Earning means showing up and getting paid. Creating means building something that keeps working after you walk away. You don't have to be a genius. What problems do you solve easily that others struggle with? You can also grow your income by using money the right way. Every dollar you save can be turned into a worker. You can invest. You can put money into things that grow without your involvement. That might be low-cost index funds in a 401k or a Roth IRA, real estate, or a small side business. The key is to stop letting your money sit and start letting it work. But to do that, you have to stop spending everything you earn. If all your money goes toward your lifestyle, there's nothing left to grow. The 1% don't just live below their means, they reinvest the gap. While most people upgrade their car or apartment with every raise, the 1% buy time, buy assets, buy control. That's how they escape the grind. You also need to think about skill stacking. You don't have to be the best in the world at one thing, but if you combine a few solid skills, you become uniquely valuable. Maybe you're decent at writing and also good at sales. Or maybe you understand tech and also have a creative eye. These combinations can open doors to freelance work, consulting, or your own business. Automation is another game changer. The 1% automate what drains their time, from bill payments to investments. They build systems that remove daily decisions. This frees up their mind for bigger moves. If you spend all your time on low-value tasks, you'll never break through. Another area where people miss out is pricing. They undervalue themselves. They're afraid to ask for more. But if you want to grow your income, you must raise your standards. You must deliver more value and charge accordingly. The 1% don't compete on being the cheapest. They compete on being the most effective. You also need to surround yourself with people who think bigger. If everyone around you believes more hours equal more money, that thinking will infect you. But if you spend time with people who talk about systems, investment, and scale, you'll start seeing new paths. Your environment either limits or expands you. Choose it wisely. Set income goals not just for how much, but for how it's earned. Is it passive or active? Is it scalable or limited? Is it stressful or energizing? Income is not just about the number. It's about the freedom it gives you. More hours won't give you freedom, but smarter systems will. Don't fall into the trap of always being busy. Busyness is not success, it's often avoidance. Step back and ask, where is my time going? What am I creating that lasts beyond today? If you're just surviving each day, you'll stay in survival mode. But if you carve out time to build, to think, to design systems, you move toward wealth. You have more options than you realize. We live in a world where technology allows anyone to earn in multiple ways. The question is not, can I, but, will I take it seriously enough to start? Spending to feel better is one of the most common traps people fall into, and it's one of the most dangerous habits for your financial future. You don't fix emotions with purchases. You don't solve stress with stuff. But many people do it anyway because it gives them a quick feeling of relief, a short-lived high. And that moment becomes addictive. When they're sad, they shop. When they're bored, they spend. When they're insecure, they buy something that makes them feel important. But the feeling never lasts. The problem never goes away. And the damage grows in silence, one emotional swipe at a time. You've got to understand what's really happening. It's not about the item. It's about escaping something inside. Consider David, a graphic designer in Los Angeles. The pressure at his agency is immense. When a project gets tough or a client is difficult, he finds himself browsing online for designer sneakers or new video games. The moment he clicks Buy Now, there's a rush. But an hour after the package arrives, the anxiety is back, and now it's paired with a touch of guilt. He's numbing, not solving. To break the habit, you need to slow down and notice the pattern. What emotion usually triggers the spending? Is it anxiety, loneliness, stress, envy? Pay attention to the moment right before the urge to spend hits. That moment holds the truth. If you can catch it, you can change it. That's where control begins. In the pause, the gap between the emotion and the action. Most emotional spending happens when you're disconnected from what really matters. The 1% don't reach for dopamine, they reach for discipline. They feel the same emotions, but they've trained themselves not to run from them. They sit with discomfort. They ask better questions. You also need to remove the lies that justify emotional spending. The lie that says, "You've had a tough week, you deserve this." The lie that says, "It's just a small purchase." These phrases are signals that you're about to choose short-term comfort over long-term progress. Growth starts when you face the emotion instead of covering it. Ask yourself, what am I actually feeling right now? Is it pressure? Is it insecurity? Identify it. Put a name to it. Once you know what you're actually dealing with, the urge to spend starts to lose its power. Next, build new habits that replace the old ones. You can't just stop emotional spending. You have to redirect it. When you feel the urge, do something different. Go for a walk around the block. Write your thoughts in a journal. Call a friend who listens. Clean your space. Work on a goal. Breathe. Interrupt the cycle. Because if you don't interrupt it, you'll keep repeating it. You also need to create a new identity. Start seeing yourself as someone who is in control, someone who handles emotions with maturity, not money. Identity shapes behavior. Make it harder to spend without thinking. Remove saved credit cards from websites. Unsubscribe from marketing emails. Add friction to the process. Emotional spending thrives on ease. Slow it down. Make yourself work for it. Set rules that protect your money, like a 24-hour rule. If you want something, write it down and wait a day. Often, the desire fades because it was never about the item, it was about the feeling. Build a life you don't want to escape from. The more you live in alignment with your values, the less you'll need external things to feel good. Focus on your health. Build real relationships. Pursue goals that matter. When your life is full, the urge to spend out of emotion fades. You no longer need quick hits of pleasure. You're grounded in something deeper. Create a money goal that inspires you more than the next online order. A goal that makes you pause. Maybe it's a debt-free life. Maybe it's a freedom fund. Whatever it is, keep it visible. Talk to someone about your patterns. You don't have to do this alone. Emotional habits lose strength when they're exposed. Breaking this habit is a process. It's a shift, a daily choice. And over time, it gets easier. You build strength, you build clarity, you build confidence. Until one day, you realize you don't spend to feel better anymore. You feel better because you're living with intention, discipline, and self-respect. Emergencies don't ask for permission. They don't send a notice. They don't wait until you're ready. They show up, and they test how prepared you are. If you don't have savings, you don't have protection. And when something goes wrong, a car repair, a medical bill, a sudden job loss, you panic, you scramble, you borrow. That's what a lack of savings does. It turns every small problem into a crisis. It takes your focus away from growth and throws you into survival mode. That's why the smartest decision you can make for your future peace of mind is to build savings before you need them. Most people avoid saving because they think they can't afford it. They say they'll start later, when they make more. But they don't have a savings problem. They have a priority problem. They treat savings like an extra instead of a necessity. The 1% never make that mistake. They treat savings as protection, as insurance, as freedom. They know emergencies are part of life. They don't hope they won't happen. They plan for when they do. Saving isn't about how much you make. It's about what you choose to keep. Imagine Emily, a nurse in Miami. Her car breaks down on the way to her shift. The repair is $800. For someone with no savings, this is a catastrophe. It means putting it on a high-interest credit card, adding to a cycle of debt. But for an Emily who has been prioritizing savings, it's an inconvenience, not a crisis. She can calmly pay for the repair from her emergency fund, a fund she built by automating a small transfer from every paycheck. That's the difference between chaos and calm. Start with a goal. Don't make it complicated. Just decide you'll set aside a small percentage of whatever you earn. 5%, 10%, even 2% is better than nothing. The number isn't what matters most at first. The habit does. Saving is a muscle. You build it by using it. Open a separate, high-yield savings account for this. Not one you use every day. Not one that's easy to dip into. Give it distance. Give it a purpose. Call it your peace of mind fund. Every time you add to it, remind yourself that you're building strength. Cut out the belief that saving is only for rich people. That's false. Rich people often became rich because they made smart decisions when they weren't. They saved when it was hard. They saved when it didn't feel exciting. Break the habit of using every dollar you earn. That habit keeps people broke. Savings breaks that cycle. It gives you space, options, and control. Don't think you need to build a huge savings account in one shot. You build it slowly. You treat it like a non-negotiable commitment. Track your spending. Most people don't know where their money goes, and because of that, they believe they have no room to save. But if you tracked every dollar, you'd find places where your money is being wasted. Small expenses that add up. You just need to stop pretending there's no room for change. Start seeing savings as a form of power. When you have money saved, you don't need to say yes to every opportunity out of desperation. You can say no. You can pause. You can think clearly. That's power. Calm, thoughtful, steady. Your future self will thank you for every dollar you saved. Teach yourself to feel good about saving. Most people only feel good when they're spending. That mindset keeps them poor. You can train your brain to find pride in saving, to celebrate progress. If you have debt, that's okay. You can still save. You don't have to choose one or the other. You can pay down debt and build a small savings buffer at the same time. In fact, having savings can prevent you from falling deeper into debt during the next emergency. Make saving automatic. Remove the emotion. Pay yourself first. Set up a transfer that moves money as soon as you're paid. Treat it like a bill. Create a plan. Know what kind of savings you need. Start with a goal of 1 month of essential expenses. Then build to 3, then 6. If you can cover your basic needs for 1 full month without income, you've already built something most people never do. Build savings so you can stop living on the edge, so you can sleep at night, so you can face problems without fear. Life is full of unknowns, but your response doesn't have to be panic. It can be strength. Buying things just to impress other people is one of the fastest ways to stay broke, unhappy, and stuck in a life that doesn't reflect who you really are. You spend money you don't have on things you don't truly want to get approval from people who aren't even paying attention. It's exhausting. It's empty. And worst of all, it keeps you from building anything real. Your decisions become about appearances instead of values. And when that happens, your financial life becomes a show, not a strategy. You don't need to prove anything to anyone. Not with your car, not with your clothes, not with your phone. None of that brings lasting respect. People might notice for a moment, but they move on quickly. And when they do, you're left holding the bill. This habit is rooted in insecurity. When you're not confident in who you are, you try to buy confidence. Consider Chris, a project manager in Austin. The tech scene is competitive, and he feels the pressure to keep up. His friends are all leasing new Teslas, buying expensive watches, and talking about their latest trip to Cabo. So, Chris stretches his budget to lease a BMW he can't really afford. The first week, it feels great. He gets a few compliments. But soon, the novelty wears off, and all that's left is a $600 monthly payment that suffocates his ability to save or invest. He's playing a game he can't win, trading his future freedom for a fleeting moment of perceived status. You have to ask yourself, who am I really trying to impress? Strangers online? Friends who are doing the same thing? Most of the time, the people you're trying to impress are too busy worrying about their own lives. You are not being judged the way you think you are. And the sooner you realize that, the sooner you can stop living for other people's reactions. Real peace comes from living according to your values, not their expectations. Real wealth is built quietly, not for show. The 1% don't waste money proving they have money. They're focused on freedom, not attention. They care about assets, not applause. They don't buy things to be noticed. They buy things to make life easier, smarter, more efficient. If you want to build financial strength, you have to let go of the need to be seen as successful, because most people who look successful are faking it. They're leasing the car. They're drowning in debt. Don't copy a life you wouldn't trade places with. Your life is yours. You don't owe anyone a show. Stop letting social pressure shape your spending. Just because everyone around you is upgrading doesn't mean you should. Just because they're posting about it on Instagram doesn't mean it's wise. Half the people posting about their success are deeply stressed behind the scenes. Don't let their noise become your standard. Build a financial life that gives you peace, not performance. Take time to define what success means to you. Is it time freedom? Is it zero debt? Is it being able to help your family? Is it waking up without financial stress? These are the things worth building. When you know what matters, you stop wasting money chasing things that don't. Focus on investments, not image. Image fades, investments grow. Put your money where it matters, into your emergency fund, into your 401k, into your skills, into something that gives you returns, not reactions. Stop explaining your choices. You don't need to justify living simply. You don't need to explain why you didn't buy the latest iPhone. Your goals don't need permission. Often, the people who mock your discipline now will envy your freedom later. Stay focused. Think long-term. What matters more? Their approval today, or your freedom 5 years from now? Teach yourself to be proud of simple living, proud of discipline, proud of walking away from trends. That's not weakness. That's wisdom. And the more you walk that path, the stronger you become. You stop being swayed by opinions. You start leading yourself. That's real confidence. Every time you choose peace over performance, you grow. Every time you choose purpose over pressure, you win. That's how you stop buying things just to impress and start building a life that actually means something. Money is a tool. That's all it is. But how you use that tool shapes your entire life. Most people use money to chase a feeling. They try to buy excitement, comfort, admiration, distraction. They use it to escape the parts of life they don't want to face. And for a moment, it works. A new purchase, a weekend trip, a shiny object. It feels good until it doesn't. Because the happiness they're buying isn't real. It fades, and when it's gone, they need another fix. That cycle keeps people stuck. They earn to spend, they spend to feel, they feel empty, so they earn again just to do it all over. That isn't freedom. That's dependence wearing a smile. You can choose something different. You can use money to build a life that doesn't collapse when the feelings fade. You can use money to buy time, options, peace, growth, and space. That's what freedom really means. Not waking up wondering how you'll make it through the month. Not choosing jobs out of desperation. Freedom means control. It means your life belongs to you. It means money serves you, not the other way around. To build freedom, you have to stop trading your future for a feeling. Every time you spend to feel better, you lose a bit of power. Consider Maya, a freelance artist in Portland. Her income is unpredictable. In the past, when she landed a big project, she'd immediately spend the money on expensive dinners, new art supplies she didn't need, or a weekend trip to the coast. It felt like a celebration of her success, but then a lean month would come and she'd be filled with anxiety, scrambling for work. She was chasing the fake happiness of spending instead of building the real freedom of stability. Now, she's changed her approach. When a big check comes in, she immediately puts a large portion into her savings, her investment account, and a tax account. She uses the money to buy herself peace of mind for the next few months. She's learned that the quiet confidence of a financial cushion feels infinitely better than the fleeting high of a spending spree. Real happiness is built, not bought. It comes from knowing you're doing what matters, from becoming someone you respect, from living in alignment with your values. The people who build lasting success aren't chasing dopamine. They're designing their lives. They're thinking ahead. They're making sacrifices that create space, not stress. They ask different questions. Will this help me grow? Will this bring me closer to my goals? Will this decision serve me a year from now? You don't need to be rich to start doing this. You just need to shift your priorities. Instead of asking what you can afford, ask what's worth it. Instead of asking what looks good, ask what feels right. Not for a moment, but for the long term. Freedom starts with small decisions. Saving instead of spending. Choosing simplicity over clutter. Investing in things that grow instead of things that fade. One of the biggest lies people believe is that happiness lives in a lifestyle upgrade. But if you don't feel fulfilled with less, more will only mask the problem. And it'll come with a price. Debt, stress, pressure. The 1% don't fall for that. They use money to escape dependence, to buy time, to build leverage. You need to define what freedom looks like for you. Maybe it's the ability to take a break without guilt. Maybe it's working on something you care about instead of chasing a paycheck. Write it down. Make it clear. Because when you know what you're working toward, the temptation to buy fake happiness weakens. Learn to delay the impulse. When you want to buy something, pause. Ask yourself if it's solving a real problem or just giving you a hit of excitement. Start replacing short-term satisfaction with long-term reward. Paying off debt doesn't always feel fun, but it brings strength. These are the trades you need to make. Build systems that make smart money choices automatic. Be careful of the people you follow. If your environment celebrates spending but never talks about building, you'll be pulled into the same trap. Choose mentors who talk about peace, not just possessions. Freedom isn't about escaping work. It's about choosing it. That kind of life is possible, but only if you stop wasting money chasing feelings and start using it to create options. You'll get there by deciding what matters most and aligning every financial decision with that vision. If you don't know how much you owe, then you're not really in control of your money. You might feel like you're managing, but if the total number isn't clear, you're operating in the dark. And that darkness keeps you stuck. It creates a constant low-level stress in the background of your life. Hiding from the truth doesn't protect you. It just delays the pain. That's why the first real step to financial freedom is facing the full picture. Knowing how much you owe is not about judgment. It's about clarity. Clarity gives you the power to make a plan, to stop living in fear of a number you haven't faced yet. Too many people are afraid to look at their debt. They think it will overwhelm them. But avoiding it doesn't make it smaller. It only gives it more power over your life. The only way to take back that control is to get completely, unapologetically honest. You start by writing it all down. Every single debt. Credit cards, student loans, personal loans, medical bills, a car payment, that buy now, pay later purchase. Don't round it. Don't guess. Log into the accounts. Get the real numbers. Write them down next to the interest rate, the minimum payment, and the due date. Consider Kevin, a veteran living in Denver. He has a VA home loan, some credit card debt from when he was transitioning to civilian life, and a few lingering medical bills. The numbers feel scattered and overwhelming, so he just focuses on making the minimum payments each month, never looking at the total. The weight of the unknown is crushing him more than the debt itself. The day he finally sits down, prints out every statement, and puts all the numbers into a single spreadsheet is the day things begin to change. The total is daunting, yes, but for the first time, the enemy has a face. It's a number, not a monster hiding in the shadows. He's no longer powerless. The worst feeling comes from the unknown. But when you finally face the numbers, that anxiety starts to lose its grip. Now that you have the full picture, you can start organizing it. You can choose a strategy. The debt snowball, paying off the smallest debts first for psychological wins, or the debt avalanche, tackling the highest interest debts first to save money. The method matters less than the commitment. The goal isn't to fix everything overnight. The goal is to take one step at a time from a place of clarity, not confusion. When you're clear, your decisions get better. You stop wasting money. You stop reacting. You start planning. Start thinking differently about your debt. It's not your identity. It's a number. It's not permanent. It's a current snapshot. And just like any problem, it gets better when you bring focus, action, and consistency. You don't need to be ashamed of your past decisions. You just need to stop avoiding the consequences. The 1% don't ignore problems. They face them early. Be specific with your plan. Decide how much extra you can put toward your debt each month, even if it's just $20. Automate the payments. Pay more than the minimum. Every extra dollar shortens the timeline and rebuilds your confidence. Don't ignore the emotional side. Debt can feel heavy, like failure. But the truth is, you're not behind. You're just waking up. You're doing the work most people never do. That's courage. Communicate if you share finances with someone. Hiding debt destroys trust. Being honest builds unity. It turns your financial life into a shared mission instead of a silent burden. Check in with your numbers every week. Stay connected. Track your payments. Celebrate the progress. Watch the balances go down. That feedback keeps you engaged. The clarity you build now is your armor against future debt. People fall back into debt because they stop paying attention. The habits that get you out are the habits that keep you out. This is your moment to stop drifting and start leading. Stop letting bills surprise you. Stop letting balances pile up. When you know what you owe, you can measure progress, set real goals, and visualize being debt-free. That clarity drives motivation, and that motivation fuels discipline. This is how financial transformation begins. If you want to change your financial future, you have to stop guessing and start learning what rich people actually do. Not what you assume they do, not what they show on social media. What they actually do behind closed doors, with their thinking, their habits, their systems. That knowledge is available, but most people never take it seriously. They treat wealth like a mystery, a dream. They think rich people are lucky or just different, so they never study them. They keep living the same way, hoping one day things will change. But things change when you start doing what works. Getting serious about this means treating wealth like a skill, not an accident. It means dropping the excuses. You can't keep saying money is evil or rich people are selfish. Those beliefs keep you broke. Rich people are not better than you. They're just more educated about money. They've made different choices. They've built patterns that produce results. And if you want those results, you need to study the patterns. Look at how they spend their time. They value learning. They read books on finance, business, and psychology. They study markets. They hire coaches. They treat knowledge like capital, because it is. What you know affects every decision you make. Start paying attention to what they read, what they talk about. They don't just scroll through distractions for hours. They focus on growth. They focus on data. They learn how money moves. They take that seriously because they know information compounds just like money does. Take Chloe, a college student in Boston. Instead of just focusing on her classes, she spends an hour every day on her financial education. She reads the Wall Street Journal, listens to podcasts like How I Built This, and has a library card she uses to borrow books by investors like Warren Buffett and entrepreneurs like Sarah Blakely. She's not just learning theories, she's learning the mindset, the language, and the habits of people who have built something. She's preparing for a future most of her peers aren't even thinking about yet. Study how they use their money. Rich people don't just make more, they manage better. They give every dollar a job. They invest early. They automate systems. They protect their income. They live below their means longer than necessary. They value control over image. They delay gratification. Watch how they build multiple streams of income. They rarely depend on one paycheck. They create income from investments, businesses, assets. If you're depending on one job to fund your entire life, you're always one decision away from disaster. Observe their mindset around failure. They don't run from failure. They expect it. They see it as feedback. Most people avoid failure so much that they never take real action. But action is how you learn. Notice how they protect their time. They say no often. They focus hard. They keep distractions out. That discipline creates space for thinking, planning, and building. Look deeper at their principles. Rich people follow systems. They build habits. They track progress. They reflect often. They don't live on luck. They live by design. You need to understand the why behind their choices. Once you understand that, you can start making your own powerful choices. Build your personal education plan. Don't wait for someone to tell you what to learn. Be curious. Be relentless. And most of all, apply what you learn. Knowledge without action is just noise. Get around people who live differently. If everyone around you thinks budgeting is boring and investing is risky, you need new voices. You need mentors, not just friends. You need builders, not just talkers. Who you spend time with shapes what you believe is normal. If you want to grow, you need a new normal. Don't wait until you're earning more to start learning more. Learn now. The habits you build today decide what happens when more money does come. Stop assuming. Start studying. Stop guessing. Start applying. Get serious about learning what rich people do, and soon you'll stop wondering how they got there. You don't have to be rich to start acting like someone who is. In fact, most people who become rich did so because they built the habit of making smart money moves every single day, long before they had wealth. Acting rich isn't about faking success. It's not about showing off or pretending you have more than you do. It's about thinking wisely, deciding with clarity, and treating your financial future like something that matters every day. It's about practicing the behaviors that lead to real wealth. Every day, you're making choices with your money. Some bring you closer to freedom, and some pull you further away. The small decisions count. The coffee you buy out of habit. The subscription you forgot to cancel. The impulse purchase you justify as a reward. It all adds up. When you start treating every dollar like it's important, you shift into a new level of discipline. That's what acting rich really means. It's not loud. It's calculated. It's intentional. People think they'll change once they have more money. They say they'll get organized when their income grows. But if you're not making smart moves now, you won't magically start when you have more. Habits build wealth, not wishes. And habits are built in the present. If you waste money today, you'll likely waste more tomorrow. Smart money moves are simple but powerful. Paying yourself first. Tracking where your money goes. Living below your means without complaining. Saying no to what doesn't serve your goals. These aren't glamorous moves. They don't get applause, but they build security. And once you have security, you start to feel peace. Acting rich means having the courage to plan long-term. It means choosing a strong future over a comfortable now. Take Michael, who works at a grocery store in rural Texas. His income is modest. He could easily fall into the mindset of, "I don't make enough to save." But instead, he acts rich. He brings his lunch to work instead of buying it. He automatically transfers $25 from every paycheck to a savings account. He spends his evenings learning a new skill online instead of just watching TV. He's not making big, flashy moves. He's making small, smart, consistent ones. He understands that his daily habits are the foundation of his future wealth. The real power comes from being the kind of person who could upgrade their life, but doesn't need to right away. That restraint builds wealth. Get used to thinking before you spend. Ask yourself, is this helping or hurting? Is this creating freedom or pressure? These questions will sharpen your mind. They'll teach you to delay gratification. Create systems that support smart behavior. Automate your savings. Schedule your budget check-ins. Make it harder to make bad decisions by putting good systems in place. You don't need willpower every day. You need a system that supports your goals. Start measuring progress daily, even if it feels slow. $1 saved, a small debt payment, a wasteful purchase avoided. These are real wins. Stack them. Track them. Acting rich means you're not waiting for a big break. You're building the break, brick by brick. Cut what doesn't matter. Remove the noise. You're not missing out. You're leveling up. Most people stay broke trying to keep up with things they don't even truly enjoy. You need progress. You need clarity. You need results that show up in your bank account, your mindset, and your confidence. Remind yourself daily that your goal is freedom. That means waking up with options. That means being able to invest in what matters. All of that is built on the back of smart decisions, repeated over and over. Stay aware of your environment. If the people around you mock financial discipline, you need better conversations. Surround yourself with ideas and examples that encourage smart living. Acting rich means facing boredom and choosing to build anyway. Use boring moments to prepare, to create, to grow. Focus on being better, not perfect. One smart move a day compounds into something powerful. Use today as proof. You don't have to wait to be wealthy to act wealthy. You just have to start where you are. Be the person who plans ahead, who saves without being told, who tracks without stress. That's how you build something real. That's how you take control. And when the world tells you to relax, to treat yourself when you can't afford it, remember why you started. Remember that acting rich isn't about pretending. It's about preparing. Every smart move you make today protects you tomorrow. Keep stacking good choices. Keep ignoring the noise. Keep leading yourself when no one's watching. That's how you win.